Welcome in, belly up, have a seat and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 111, a Week 8 preview, and it is my great pleasure to welcome back into the bar Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B. How are you doing today, Bernie? Wait.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
All right, how are you doing today, Bernie?
Well, my caffeine levels are about 13% and holding steady, so I think I can make it.
All right, very good. You had a long drive back, I take it, after our Oktoberfest?
Oh, yeah, that's a nice, normally 7-hour drive. That probably took 8, just because I needed to stop and take a couple breaks.
Well, I appreciate you making the trip. I know it takes a lot of effort, and I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we have another jam-packed episode for you guys as we will set the slate for this weekend's prime time games. We will check in on the player news and practice reports, check the activity of our waiver wire, go over this week's matchups, see who is on the top of the newest power rankings, and we also have our starts, our guarantees, don't you worry, our starts of the week. And we will have another installment of a Fourth and Long with Bernie. And we'll close one chapter and start a new one as it's time to pay up in this week's Wingman Jam. And of course, we will dive in headfirst, feet up in the air, as we'll dive into another mailbag. But before we do any of that, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, let's set the slate for the primetime games. First of all, I'd like to mention that there are no teams on bye this week. We have a full slate of games, so as long as your players are healthy, they will be in our lineups for Week 8. And we also are back to a regular NFL schedule with no London games on the early Sunday morning, and there's only one Monday night game this week. So let's set the schedule for this week's primetime games. As on Thursday night, we had the Minnesota Vikings were taking a voyage to the West Coast to take on the LA Rams at 8:15 p.m. The Sunday night game this week has been flexed as we have a classic NFC battle as the Dallas Cowboys gallop in their search for gold as they take on the San Francisco 49ers at 8:20 p.m. And the last game of the week, the New York Giants head over to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8:15 p.m. Which of these games catch your attention the most?
Ooh, the most, I would have to say probably this Thursday night game the most, because we got two good teams going at it. Not that Dallas isn't a good team or San Francisco, but they're not my favorites.
So I was surprised that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had primetime games quite often this year so far.
Yeah, I mean, that game does interest me just because I want to see what Pittsburgh is doing offensively. But outside of that, really the Thursday night is the exciting game as a football fan.
All right. Now, as for our Thursday night game, we had 8 players in our manager's lineups tonight, where Waddle Away had 2 players in his lineup with Matthew Stafford, a nice streaming option there, and the Minnesota defense. And Bernie's Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
Had his superstar streaming kicker, who now is a mainstay, the kicker Will Reich. Is it Reichard? I say Reichard right now. Will Reichard is going.
Yeah, I'm doing Reichard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm doing either Ricard or Reichard. I don't know.
You're doing the hard CH there. Okay. And we have Cubert's Rage had Cooper Kupp finally back in his lineup, going alongside his number 1 pick this year, Justin Jefferson. And Ben's brilliant team had Puka Nacua. Fresh off the IR in his lineup on Thursday night, and Mac Daddy Twos had 2 players in his lineup as he had a pair of running backs, Aaron Jones and Kyren Williams.
Release the Kraken.
Thursday night is going to get him off to a strong start, or is going to give his opponent a little bit of life. All right, now what do you think about some of those players playing in tonight's game? Anyone you think is going to overperform or underperform?
Just from watching the game, I think Nakua might overperform. Stafford might overperform, but I don't think anybody's really underperforming from what I can see. Is Hawkinson playing? He might underperform.
No, he didn't get activated. He's still in the IR technically.
Definitely underperforming then.
Okay. All right, now for some player news and practice reports. All right, starting off with Jonathan Taylor has returned to practice, and it's trending towards making his return to the Colts starting lineup. Sky Moore, he's a receiver for the Chiefs, in case you're unaware, was placed on IR this week. Tyreek Hill was added to the injury report late in the week after Thursday's practice with a foot injury. Mike Evans is expected to miss at least 3 games and is hoping to be back after the team's Week 11 bye. Chris Olave has returned to a limited practice, and it looks like he's progressing through the concussion protocol and is trending towards making his return in Week 8. And Juwan Jennings is dealing with a hip injury and has yet to practice this week. And San Francisco is on a bye next week, meaning that it might just be safer to hold him out one more week so he has an extra week to recover. All right, what do you think about some of these players we mentioned so far?
Yeah, so Jonathan Taylor, it's just, he makes me have to have my phone on, the volume on, alerts on, just so I don't miss anything with him. So it's like the roller coaster of questionable, active, no tag, out, and it's a roller coaster. So he's keeping me busy for sure.
I noticed you had him on your bench at the moment because he didn't play last week. Are you looking to put him in if he's playing?
Yeah, he's probably going to go in if he's playing. There's really nothing else going on. Richardson does not make that team any better. They need to put Flacco back in.
All right, let's see. All right, our next group of players here, we have Jameson Williams has been suspended for 2 games due to violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substance policy here. So he's going to be out the next 2 games. Dalton Kincaid is dealing with a collarbone injury and has been limited in practice all week. Alvin Kamara is perpetually questionable as he is clearly in the maintenance program dealing with multiple minor injuries. And Juju Smith-Schuster has already been ruled out for Week 8, indicating that a multi-week absence may be in the card for Juju. All right, you got 3 players in this section here: Jameson Williams, Alvin Kamara, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Which way are you going to go with these guys?
Well, as of right now, Kamara's in, and Smith-Schuster, and Williams are out. I'm not worried about either one of them in their out status. I've got players that can play, so I'm good with them just sitting on the bench, not going to drop them. But Kamara, he's one that he might get traded out with Taylor. So we'll see how that goes. I really don't want to trade out any of my other players at the moment, any other of my running backs at the moment.
I wonder what type of substance Jameson Williams took that made him play very well every 3rd game. That's crazy.
Yeah, creatine, because it's like a loading up phase.
Okay. All right, our next group here of player news: DeAndre Hopkins has been traded from Tennessee Titans to the Kansas City Chiefs, and Tua Tagovailoa returned to practice on Wednesday and is expected to make his return to the field this week against the Arizona Cardinals. Cooper Kupp has been removed from the injury report and was getting back on the field on Thursday night against the Vikings, and Puka Nacua has been activated. He was activated from the IR this afternoon and made it onto the field this Thursday night. And I haven't double-checked his stats, but he's looking very good and has a chance for a nice game. Travis Etienne has been logging in limited practices all week. Keep in mind, he did the same thing last week before he was ultimately declared inactive. So definitely keep an eye on that all the way up to Sunday. And DK Metcalf is dealing with a knee injury. Despite avoiding a serious injury, he will most likely be questionable up until game time on Sunday. All right, what do we have here? We have Hopkins, Tagovailoa, a pair of Rams receivers, Etienne, and Metcalf.
Yeah, so this is looking good for Nacua. He doesn't look like he's missing any steps as of yet. Maybe a little rusty on the hands department, but he's making some some pretty spectacular looking moves. He only has 4 receptions as of right now, though, and he has 35 yards on those 4 receptions. So he's doing okay. As far as Hopkins goes, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that situation. I like Nuke. I think he's a great player, but I don't know where he is now. I don't know how he's going to gel with Mahomes, but he is talented enough. He is a veteran. He's going to get catches. He's going to get open. So I think him and Mahomes might start slow, but I think they might end up being a good combo.
So I don't know if you recall when I had my Tennessee Titans rant, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I dropped Bowers for Hopkins only because there were rumors back then that Hopkins might be traded to Kansas City. And I was kicking myself because Bowers has been playing great, and I didn't want 2 Titans receivers. That is for sure. But once Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams got traded to the NFC East, I'm like, he's the next man up to go to that Kansas City Chiefs team. And it happened, just took a little while. So I've diversified my 2 Titans to be now a number 1 receiver for the Titans and now a potential number 1 receiver for Kansas City, although we'll see how long it takes him to get acclimated. He just touched down today, but his injury status has been he's off the injury report, and they say he's going to play. I'm not going to trust him this first week, but holding on to him through these 3 weeks has paid off, at least for hope.
Yeah, I would say so. That's a good move.
All right. We got to talk about Tua here. Tua might be back. Is this going to be the saving grace for all of the Dolphins' offensive players, or what?
I hope so. I hope that he is ready, and as far as practicing goes and timing goes, I hope they're not rushing him back, or not rushing. He's obviously making that decision with the doctors, but I hope there's enough time on the practice field to get his timing down, because that's all that is. Quick decisions and timing for the Dolphins. If that's in sync, then they're going to be on fire.
So the thing with Tua, he's usually a first half of the season player, but he's missed the first half of the season. This is going to test some of our thoughts on him. Is he just play good when it's warm, or does he just play good before people figure him out? Is his first half of the season starting now, or did he already miss it and he's going to suck the rest of the way?
No, I think it's good. I think it starts now, and I don't think they're figuring Tua out. I think they might be figuring the coach out. That hype train has broken down on the side of the tracks.
And unfortunately for Tua this year, he wasn't playing great even in his first 2 games, as his first game and a half, as he got hurt. So we'll see if they can get back on track here. You might be right. It might be a Dolphins offense being figured out here. Do we have a long touchdown to Tutu Atwell? Did he catch that? No, it got broken up.
He did not. That's good defense there. Yeah.
All right. Our next group of players, Bucky Irving has not practiced yet this week, and he's dealing with a toe injury. And Zay Flowers is dealing with an ankle injury. Excuse me. He did play through it during the Week 7 game, but he was definitely hobbled in that game. We'll see if the swelling has gone up too high for him to miss this week or not. Just keep an eye on Zay Flowers. Deebo Samuel, who was hospitalized with pneumonia, only played a couple snaps last week, returned to the San Francisco facility, and now he has also returned to practice, yet his Week 8 availability is still up in the air. Deontay Johnson has not been on the practice field yet this week, as he is dealing with multiple minor injuries here. And Bryce Young is going to get the start for the Carolina Panthers, as Andy Dalton is dealing with a sprained thumb after that car accident that he was in just a couple days ago. All right, are we worried about Bucky Irving not playing? We have Deebo Samuel. Will he play? Bryce Young back in the lineup. What are we doing with these guys?
We're not worried about Bucky Irving. Rachaad White did good last week. So I think they'll be okay. And then they got that third back. His name slips me at the moment.
Sean Tucker.
So I think they'll be fine without him. Rashad Bateman should get a little bump up. He was possibly going to be one of my starts of the week. They've got enough offensive firepower where they don't need to push it with Flowers. So they could get Justice Hill out of the backfield to catch some nice screen passes as well. So they got some options over there. I'm not too worried about them.
Bucky Irving looked great in the last game, but Rachaad White got all the stats in comeback mode, in that frantic comeback mode, as they were like dropping back in like prevent style defense. And they were dropping him off to the screen passes to White. So honestly, going into the third quarter there, I thought Irving looked just as good, if not better, than Rachaad White. I think it was just the way the game script went on that gave White that big game.
Exactly. And then last time these two teams played, it was back and forth. So Tampa will need to be shooting for the end zone every time.
How bad is Denver going to kill Carolina with Bryce Young back? Has he learned something while sitting on the sideline for the last 4 weeks, or is he getting ready to get pummeled once again?
No, I think he's paying attention. I heard an interview with him today, actually, and he said that he's not trying to play for his job, getting this chance back. He's just playing for this game. I think he's respecting his elder statesman ahead of him, learning from him, not taking it to heart like I'm this first round pick, first overall pick, whatever the case is, and I need to be starting. So it's like the complete opposite maybe of Anthony Richardson, even though I haven't heard Anthony Richardson talk about his situation. So I think he'll be fine. I don't think he might not win the game, but I don't think he's going to play like seeing an extra 11 men on the field coming after him or anything like that.
Well, this might be Bryce Young getting used to his forever role as the backup quarterback, getting spot starts. This is a practice for that right here. All right, our next group. Go ahead.
All I have to say to him is Sam Darnold.
Yep. Right. Yeah. All right. Our next group of players is a smaller group. I didn't space these out well. Jaden Daniels has not yet practiced this week, but he's hoping for a chance to practice on Friday. I'm thinking it's going to be very dicey for him to get on the field this week, although anything's possible. And your man, Jameis Winston, is expected to start for the Browns. Of course, we didn't want this to come due to a big-time injury for Deshaun Watson, but you've been calling for this quarterback change, and now it's for different reasons. But Jameis Winston is getting on the field. And I've got a side note here. Robert Saleh, former coach for the Jets, has been hired by the Green Bay Packers as a whatever consultant. They said his role will be fluid. They're going to figure out what job to give him. But he's in the building. I think he's there just to talk crap with Matt LaFleur about Aaron Rodgers. Since the last two coaches can just have their coffee in the morning and just talk crap before they get onto the practice field.
Okay, so I got a couple things. I'll save that one for last.
Okay.
Famous Jameis. I'm happy to see him on the field. Again, I was watching some news today, and he's getting his team riled up, man. He's got his known speeches, his known opening, get everybody going. And I think their receiver, obviously Njoku, but the receiver, is it Tillman? I believe
Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, Tillman might be one of those sleeping beauties, man. He might be have a big role in this offense. So I don't know what their connection is, obviously off the field in the practice. So keep an eye on Tillman. Who was the other guy? I did have something on the other one.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels. Mariota. He put up like 19 fantasy points in our league last week. So it looks like that offense is built good. So whatever Kingsbury's doing, he's doing a good job at it. Now, as far as Saleh, so apparently they're old buds. LaFleur was his best man at his wedding. They were roommates together when they were doing some sort of coaching thing. So they're like really, really good friends. So I think his buddy's like, hey man, just come to the facility, stay out of the defensive area so we don't cause any waves. Come look at some offensive things with me and kind of give me your take on what our offensive game plan looks like from a defensive perspective.
Right.
So I think it's just his buddy, and it's pretty cool that it is Green Bay and he can talk shit about it. But I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's just like, hey man, you're down on your luck. You're my really good friend. Just come hang out.
Well, I was thinking that when he got released, that like San Francisco could bring him back in a similar way. They're all the same group of coaching tree there.
Exactly.
All right, now let's take a look at our waiver wire. And I have to say, this was probably our busiest waiver wire of the week, and money's being spent like crazy. I've been lowering my bids as the year's going on, and I'm kind of getting mixed matches. Some of our managers are upping their bids as the year goes along. So let's get into it, as we had 14 waiver bids this week for 11 different NFL players. Wow. And 2 of these players received multiple bids. Starting off with our highest price acquisition, Jawan Jennings went to Crazy Fish. Can you guess for how much? You might even know, but
$53. He doesn't have 53 left. 46.
No, he spent his last $32 to get Jawan Jennings. $32. Wow. And he did outbid 3 other players. So this was had the most traffic on this player, as Cubert's Rage put in a bid for $8, outbidding Amazing Spidey, who put in a $7 bid, and Red Sox Nation, who put in a $7 bid. It is safe to say that Crazy Fish, you spent too much.
You paid too much.
And it wasn't even a running back.
It wasn't a running back. So the last 3 or 4 weeks, Crazy Fish and I have both been bidding on the same players, and he's been outbidding me like a madman. He got Pickens ahead of me when he put in a $7 bid, I believe it was, and I put in a $3 or $4 bid. So I figured Jennings was about as worth as much as Pickens. At first I had a 5 or 6. I'm like, he's got to be worth at least Pickens. Let me go to 7. So Cubert's Rage would have had the perfect bid if Crazy Fish wasn't so crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's in his name. There you go.
There. All right, our next one here with the injuries to the Tampa Bay receivers of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I didn't put those in the news there. I forgot, or maybe I did. Mike Evans, yeah, I did. But Chris Godwin's also out for the year. I mentioned that in the last show. Sorry. But Jalen McMillan, the rookie receiver for the Tampa Bay Bucks, went to Red Sox Nation for $14, outbidding Cubert's Rage for $4. So Cubert's Rage was trying to get receiver help, but he kept getting outbid. But with a $10 overpay, Red Sox Nation, you know what you did.
You paid too much.
All right. Our next player here. Oh, you're going to like this one. Mr. Unlimited. Russell Wilson went for $2 to Lionized. You still have Justin Fields on your team, correct?
Yes, I do.
You're waiting for Russell Wilson to just play himself out of here, but he had a good game last week, and Lionized might have to put him in his lineup as he's been kind of playing random. No, he's not, because he has Lamar Jackson. So I don't know why he picked up Russell Wilson. Maybe he's trying to block his opponent. That might be the case. But he got him for $2, and there were no other bids. Unless I'm wrong here, can you double check? I had Crazy Fish picking up Jason Sanders for $1. Is that the right person who picked him up?
That is correct. No, Waddle Away. Waddle Away picked up
Jason Sanders
for $3.
For how much?
$3.
No, that can't be right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
All right, I made a mistake here then. So Russell Wilson did go to two.
I'm sorry. $1. I'm sorry. $1.
And was it Waddle Away?
It was Waddle Away.
Okay, I didn't change that name. I was doing a lot of copy and pasting here. So Jason Sanders went to Waddle Away for $1. Matthew Stafford also went to Waddle Away. Just double check me as I go through these. Also for $1. And he put him in a starting lineup tonight. So we have a streaming quarterback for Waddle Away.
We'll cross the streams.
Excuse me, Egon. You said crossing the streams was bad.
All right, another player picked up this time. So Cubert Rage did get a receiver. He got Rashad Bateman for $1. So he put in bids for Jennings, McMillan, and Stafford. He got his cheapest one here, and might be arguably
the best one.
Yeah, might be one of the better ones, or at least the best deal overall. These guys are similar. You know, they're 2-3 receivers moving up based on injury or performance, and he got them for way less than the other guys. Rashad Bateman's coming off a great game last week, and Zay Flowers is banged up. Will Lutz went to Lionize for $1. I believe he's the kicker for Denver right now, right?
Correct.
Ty Chandler went back to Crazy Fish for $0. He also picked up Graham Gano once again for $0 for his IR kicker. Crazy Fish and I are taking advantage of this IR spot, using the kicker to follow the IR spot. Jalen Tolbert went to Amazing Spidey for $0, and Mike Williams went to Cubert's Rage for $0. But I noticed he didn't hold on to Mike Williams very long. Who do you pick up in the free agent market after the Williams waiver wire pickup?
Well, after Crazy Fish grabbed a running back named Balake Corum, Cubert's Rage went ahead and picked up famous Jameis Winston.
All right. Oh, that's right. He has Jaden Daniels out this week, so he might have to play him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who his other quarterback is. Yeah, I know he drafted Aaron Rodgers, and he's no longer on his team. So I'm not sure who his other quarterback options are. All right, guys. It is now time to see who's playing who in this week's matchups.
This week's matchup.
All right, guys, starting off our Week 8 matchups in the Wingman Fantasy Football League, we have Amazing Spidey at 4-3. Our lowest scoring team of the entire season is on a 4-game winning streak. I do not know how, but he's playing Red Sox Nation, who's also at 4-3 and just had his 4-game winning streak snapped. So this is going to be a close game in terms of record, but Red Sox Nation is the far superior team when it comes to his players. What do you have for this particular matchup?
Well, looking at it straight on, you do not have a chance. Red Sox Nation has just got Hurts and Hunt and London and Neighbors is back and Diggs and Lamb. I mean, he's just loaded, double-digit loaded projections. The only concerns I see for you is Calvin Ridley, and Jordan Mason. Just as what kind of role is he going to play? But that's really it. Roma Dunze, he's going to be touchdown dependent, but he could put up a decent day. So you got a tall hill to climb here.
All my receivers are boom bust crap guys, and I don't know which ones to play, and I keep picking the wrong ones. I'm barely getting 8 points combined out of the wide receiver position every week. It's been a bear.
Yeah, you need to start spending like $32 to try to get some of these waiver wire guys.
I would have loved Juwan Jennings for $7. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have here. On our next game here is Bernie's Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
At 4-3 is up against Nick's Waddle Away.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
And Nick's Waddle Away is at 3-4. I don't know the projection. You're going to tell me this right now. What do you have on this game?
Well, original projection, I am winning by just under 2 points. But he has shaved that lead off with his Matt Stafford acquisition and start. Thanks for listening to the podcast, Nick. It looks like you are paying attention. You're making moves. You're doing the thing. I don't see Elliott in your lineup. I see Stafford starting. He should have started for you last week too. You might have gotten the win. He's got a good lineup going. Devontae Adams would be my only concern in his lineup. Maybe is it Deontay Johnson, Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah, he might be my only other concern for him, but he's looking okay. He is starting a tight end though, so but it's a tight end that's going to get a touchdown pass from my quarterback because he's got Pitts and I've got Cousin. I'm going to be starting Cousin this week, so I'm concerned with my running back situation, but it's going to be a close game.
All right, our next game on the ballot here, on the docket here. I'm not entirely sure the exact points, but these are at least two of our top 3 point scorers, and the 1 and 2 seed, I believe, it might be 1 and 3 seed. Points are tight up there, are close. We have Alex's They Took Our Jobs at 5-2 up against the best team in our league, Corey's Mac Daddy 2s at 6-1. This is a heavyweight bout between these two teams. What do you have for this game?
Oh, yeah. This is the tail of the tape here is first place versus second place. The original projection is literally 39 points difference.
Really?
I'm sorry, 36-point difference. So they are both projected at 100 point something. This is going to be close. Looking at the rosters, though, we've got Jaden Reed for Green Bay and DK Metcalf on They Took Our Jobs. They're his 2 questionable spots right now. So I don't think he needs to worry about Reed, but Metcalf, I don't know. He's a tough guy. He might be playing through something. He doesn't like to walk to the locker room, but he's definitely probably hiding something more than he should be.
I don't think Metcalf's going to play this week.
Yeah, so that would be my only thing, is that right there. So he needs to just take a look at his bench, see who he can get going in, and then take it from there.
All right, our next game here. Oh man, this is a big game for these guys as the loser season is pretty much officially over, and the winner is going to need a lot of help. But we have our pair of 1 and 6 teams. Reggie's Linehouse off his first victory of the season is playing against Ken's the Fantastics, who's also at 1 and 6 and is now on a 6-game losing streak of himself. So we're going to see who's going to take this one down, and we're going to mention these guys a little later in our show here. But what do you have on this matchup between these two 1 and 6 teams?
It's the complete opposite. This is the featherweight division. The last one was the heavyweight division. 11th and 12th place, respectively, 93 points each, with a little bit of change there. So as far as their players go, though, they look very similar on paper. The only concern we have is if two days, I have Achan and Hill. I've got Dolphin assets on the Fantastics. So that's really the only concern that I can see just at first glance. I don't know what Montgomery's status is for Detroit, but if he is a little nicked up still, Gibbs should have another big day. So, and Lion Eyes has Gibbs on his team. He could put up another 30 burger very, very easily.
All right, our next game in our matchups this week is the craziest of Crazy Fish. He's wild. He's a madman. At 3-4, Andrew's Crazy Fish is up against Katie's King George. Both these guys have been losing their games lately, as Crazy Fish is on a 3-game losing streak. Katie's King George, I think, has lost 3 out of 4. I'm not entirely sure, but she did lose last week. This game is going to be, again, another big game for both these guys. Katie's King George is going to need this one to keep her playoff chances alive. What do you have in this matchup?
Looking at it just without diving too deep, this might go to Crazy Fish. And just to read off King George's list of ifs possibilities here, Montgomery, Flowers, Olave, Irving. I mean, that's the heart of her lineup there is just, I don't know. I can't put too much faith in those 4 people. Now, and those 4 people could easily put up 20 points each. But that's a lot of questions going on there.
Yeah, well, now she's going to be missing Evans for a little while here. That's a tough blow. And actually, not only is it going to hurt her going forward, but I think she would have beat you if Evans didn't get hurt as early as he did in that game last week.
Oh yeah. I listened to the show. Good job on the show. She had 4 people going last week. So you just mentioned the 2 from the one Monday night game. There were 2 Monday night games. She had 4 of them going. And Evans had gotten hurt and Flowers had gotten hurt. He was the other Monday night game.
Oh, that's right. So she had another player. Okay.
Yeah. So she had 4 people. I thought it was over. And then when I saw both of them get hurt, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a chance. Yeah. But her injuries crept into this week as well. So
yeah. Injuries was a big part of last week's story. Mm-hmm. All right. Our last game on the docket here is Paul's Cubert Rage at 5-2. And he's one of those top 3 teams. Again, those points are close. He might even be ahead in points. I'm not sure. He had a pretty bad week last week, so he's probably a third of those guys now. Paul's Cubert Rage up against Ben's brilliant team, similar to Amazing Spidey, is one of the lowest scoring teams in the league. Might be the second lowest scoring overall, second or third, but he's at 4-3. So both these guys are near the top of their divisions. This is a big game here. What do you have on this matchup?
So for this one, it looks like it's a pretty close matchup. I'm going to lean towards Cubert Rage, but he does have Dolphin asset, so we keep an eye on that. He has Waddle. It doesn't look like there are any Jacksonville running backs in the starting lineup for Ben's brilliant team. So as long as those Jacksonville running backs stay on the bench, he's got a chance. He does have Puka Nacua, and Cubert Rage has Cooper Kupp, and Nakua is at 14.8 so far tonight, and Kupp is only at 9. So he's definitely winning that LA receiver battle.
Did Puka score, or he has that many receptions and yards?
Let me take a look here. Shift to screen to the
I didn't
right.
see him score.
No, he has 106 receiving yards on 7 receptions and 7 rushing yards.
Nice. Yeah, he's awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah.
That's why we have the soundbite for him. A Puka Nakua. All right, sorry. All right. So it's now time to get into this week's updated power rankings.
By the power of Grayskull.
I'm living in it, no one man to have all that power.
Wingman Power Rankings.
1. All right, our power rankings have been updated, and starting from the bottom of the list, Ben's brilliant team, who moved up to 11th last week, is back to the bottom at 12th. Crazy Fish has dropped from 10th to 11th. Lion Eyes has dropped from 9th to 10th, so everyone's shifting down here. Cubert's Rage has shifted down from 7 to 9. Amazing Spidey is holding strong at 8. Pardon me. Waddle away. Where was he last week? I don't have him here. I must have messed. Oh, he's on the bottom last week. He went from 12th to 7th. His biggest increase in the power rankings is Waddle away. Team B is finally out of that 5th spot with a slight slide down to 6th. The Fantastics has moved from 6th to 5th, a little swap between those guys. Red Sox Nation has fallen 1 spot from 3 to 4. King George, I don't know how she does it, especially with these injuries. Like I said, it must be the Christian McCaffrey effect in the future here. She's moved up to 3, and Mac Daddy 2s stays at number 2, while They Took Our Jobs remains at the top of the power rankings. What do you think about these guys? How it is now? It's pretty similar. Everyone just kind of shifted down 1, and Waddle moved up a bit.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty spot on. He's making some moves. He's got some fresh players on his team. The Dolphins' assets help Fantastics jump back up there. And then sitting all the way at the top still, I mean, King Henry and Saquon Barkley, they're just getting better and better and better. They Took Our Jobs is just going to keep having those big projections.
I have to say this year, the older running backs that we were worried about moving to new teams, the old faces and new places have all been doing quite well. If you count Joe Mixon, and Josh Jacobs has not been the stud the other guys have, but he gets 12 to 15 points every week as well. Those older, although Jacobs isn't old, but the other guys are definitely older. Mixon, Mixon and Henry, and then Saquon and Jacobs are kind of your 5th year guys.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones as well.
Oh, yeah, another guy. Yep. All these guys are older. All these guys are not super young, range from middle to older, and they've all switched teams, and they're all doing quite well. Way to go, guys.
Way to go.
What else was I going to mention about this? I don't recall here. So we'll just move along here. Oh, I guess I noticed my 4-game winning streak has been against the bottom 4 teams in the power rankings, so maybe that's why I've been lucky to eke out these low-scoring victories.
There you go. I take it how you get it.
All right. Now it's time to move to there's no regrets in this section. Don't worry about it. We get this right every single time. Starts of the week. Just think of all the guys I said last week. I meant them for this week, and they'll do much better.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how it goes.
All right, we're going to start off with our quarterback selections for our start of the week. I'm going to let you go first if you are ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. If he plays, you'd never like to hear that. Mr. Tua, welcome back. 17.3 points is projected. He is my start of the week. He is just better than everything else that's available.
Welcome back.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. They have a very strong matchup. Surprisingly enough, the Arizona Cardinals rush defense is the best part of their defense. They surprisingly stuff guys more than you'd realize. You think it's a total defensive oasis here for the opponents, but it's the passing game that generally thrives in their games.
Yep.
All right, I'm going back to the well. I haven't picked this player yet, but you have. And when in doubt, pick a player on Mac Daddy 2s. We're picking Bo Nix against the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers give up the 7th most points to the position. But with Bryce Young being back and them not having a great overall offense, I don't think they're going to get up early and just be able to run this one all day long, as their running game is not that strong. I think Bo Nix is going to be a big part of the running game, mixed in with some passing plays, and he's going to get those young receivers involved. Bo Nix is my start of the week at the quarterback position.
I like it.
All right. You don't seem convinced. All right. How about our running back start of the week? Why don't you go ahead?
I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Dolphins. I think that with Tua back, they're not, the defense can't just be worried about that run game. Like you said, they're better at the run stop, but Achane is not just a runner. He's really fast. The timing and the schemes will click better, and I think they're going to take advantage of that. So Achane at 13.1 is my running back start of the week.
All right. I like it. Putting all your eggs in one wet Dolphin basket. All right, my running back of the week is J.K. Dobbins versus the New Orleans Saints. All right, the Saints give up the 5th most points to the running back position, but if we look at a more recent snapshot, they've been giving up even more than that as their last 3 opponents. If you go 3 weeks ago, Kareem Hunt, his first game off the street, had over 18 points. 2 weeks ago, the Tampa Bay Bucks had 2 running backs equal close to 51 points. And last week, Javonte Williams had his best game in 3 years with 24 points. if Dobbins can stay upright this on the field, I was debating on picking a Vidal. I forget his first name, Vidal for the Chargers, but I noticed that he's not getting the work. I thought last week maybe he'd get some more carries, but he's only getting 3 or 4 carries a game. Dobbins is getting 80% of the work, and against the Saints, this is a running matchup that we can all enjoy. So J.K. Dobbins is my running back start of the week.
Wow, like it. I like it a lot. Okay, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead for your receiver, please.
All right, for my receiver, this receiver is a top 5 receiver. Top 5 overall draft pick. And he only has 1 touchdown so far this year. That's Tyreek Hill. I'm going with all 3 Dolphins. 15.9 is his projection against a very beatable secondary. He's got his boy Tua back. Tyreek Hill is my wide receiver start of the week. Fantastics. You're up, buddy. You're up. Dolphin assets are a go.
Wow. All right. Good luck to the Dolphins. Good luck to you, Bernie. This is an all or nothing. You're going to get you're going to get 0 or you're going to get 2 of these guys, I think. Maybe all 3. We'll see. All right. My start of the week is a little off the radar here. He was a high price waiver wire pickup 3 weeks ago, falling off the map a little bit. Dontavian Wicks up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a team you want to target, the Jaguars, as they give up the 4th most points to the position. And with Jaden Reed being a little banged up, I think Wicks is going to get back into the end zone this week, as Jacksonville loves to give up points to the passing game. We're going to go back to the well. He's going to be one of those players that you're going to pick up, and he's going to stink for you. You're going to drop him, and he's going to be ready to come off and rebound. So you're never going to pick the right weeks, but after being hurt 1 week and having a bad week the other week, after having a bad week after his big week, and last week he had a medium game as he was second in the team with targets and yards behind Romeo Doubs. I think Dontavian Wicks is going to sneak in with a strong game this week.
Ooh, I would say I like that pick. I like that player, but I have to say that his touchdown possibility is going to get poached by one Mr. Tucker.
All right. Okay. I like it. I don't like it. Bad, Bernie, bad. I understand it. I respect it. I don't like it. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. It is now time for your favorite Friday morning segment and mine. It is time for 4th and Long with Bernie.
First down, the game's over. Go for it.
This measurement could determine the Giants'
It is
season.
time for 4th and Long.
With Bernie.
All right, what's up, Fantasy Fam? Bernie here, and you're locked into another edition of 4th and Long, where I dive deep into the stories that make the NFL what it is. So you know what gets me fired up? Those underdog stories, the backups who became legends. And I thought long and hard about this segment this week, and the injuries just keep piling up and piling up and piling up. So we've got to look at these guys that are coming in, these I want to say bench warmers, because they're quality players, but these guys that just need an opportunity, right? So we're going to dive into 5 incredible backup to superstar stories that'll make you think twice about dropping your handcuffs in fantasy, okay? And we're going to start off with probably the best one. It's not my favorite player, but you can't take anything away from who he is, and that's Mr. Tom Brady, the GOAT himself, right? So picture this. It's 2021. Drew Bledsoe goes down, and this skinny kid from Michigan, picked 199th overall, jogs onto the field. I bet there were people that were just changing the channel. You know, the game is over. 7 Super Bowl rings later, and that backup quarterback story became one of the greatest, if not the greatest, NFL story we have today. So Mr. Tom Brady replaced the injured Drew Brees in 2001 and wins 7 Super Bowls by the end of his career. Number 2 on this list is Terrell Davis. 6th round pick, buried so deep in Denver's depth chart that he needed a GPS just to find the field. Then comes this preseason game in Japan. Yeah, we used to play preseason games in Japan. And one special team play changed everything. After he gets noticed on special teams and due to some injuries, he gets the go. And then Davis goes from fourth string, Super Bowl MVP, NFL MVP. He's a Hall of Famer. The man literally, he had a migraine during a Super Bowl and still balled out. So Mr. Terrell Davis, a 6th-round pick, fourth string running back, Hall of Famer. Kurt Warner is next up for me here. Now, we all know Kurt Warner's story. You know, he was bagging groceries somewhere, and now he is a Hall of Famer. Replaced the injured Trent Green in 1999. Basically, he went from stocking shelves to the greatest show on turf. And it was all due to one injury and getting his opportunity. So Kurt Warner, great job. Next up on this list, we're going on the defensive side of the ball here. James Harrison. So talk about a defensive game changer here. This guy's been cut more times than a bad haircut. But he turned into an absolute monster when Joey Porter went down. He had a 100-yard interception return in the Super Bowl. A play that my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids will probably be talking about and watching when they become their NFL fans. He's been cut multiple times. Obviously, he got his chance when Porter went out, became Defensive Player of the Year and a Super Bowl hero. It's just amazing to see that James Harrison make it to be who he is for all he's been through. Ooh, this is a good one. This one has got some fantasy relevance. Priest Holmes. You remember that name, Mike? Priest Holmes? So Priest Holmes goes from backing up Jamal Lewis to setting touchdown records in KC. It's like finding out that your backup kicker is actually like a secret weapon running back. He set the NFL record for touchdowns in a season, and he became an All-Pro, and all just because of one Jamal Lewis going down. So, all right. So, Mike, you're probably rolling your eyes here at the commentary about these injured players. I know that you've got a couple of injured players, and I don't think you have any really big handcuffs going on, but you probably would love to have one of those superstar stories happen for you this year. So just remember that if you have a handcuff, you don't have to play him. You just got to hold on to him. You just got to hold on to that end of that bench there. And so if you like this list, if you think I missed anybody, somebody you just want to talk about, somebody that you want me to do a little deep dive into, let me know. If you've got a fantasy story of, picking up a Peyton Hillis and winning the whole thing, let me know and we'll bring it up on air. So remember that some of the times the stories that we don't want to hear about an arm broken are the stories that make somebody else's life come to life. And that's it for Fourth and Long.
All right. Very nice. Yeah. Those quarterbacks in the late 1990s, early 2000s, they met each other in the Super Bowl in 2001, I believe it was. So the Kurt Warner one is a big time story. Like you said, from bagging groceries to NFL MVP, multiple NFL MVP and Hall of Famer. Those are some great names there. I love that. Very good. Like you said, some underdog guys, you don't think about it, but they might make their way if they just get the chance. So here we go.
And there's a lot of chances going on this season for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, guys, it is now time to check in on our Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka. All right, guys, we're kind of figuring this out. So we're going to do 3 weeks of prop bets, and then depending on the outcome of those picks, will determine the draft order for us. Like I said last time I was up by 2 decisions, so I got the first pick. If we're tied, we'll roll the dice, and if we're up by more than 3 or 4 points, then we get the first 2 picks. out of the 4. That's how I think we're going to do it going on. So with 3 weeks of prop bets and then a true Wingman Jam. After our first Wingman Jam, I took that one down, but we had our second Wingman Jam 2-on-2 playoff here last week, where I had the first pick, and I decided to take J.K. Dobbins this week's start of the week, not last week's, and I took Brandon Ayuk, while Bernie picked DK Metcalf and Evan Ingram. Do you have the scores for these guys? I do. If you don't, I just wanted to pass it along to you.
Oh, I do not have them pulled up.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So in week 7 last week, J.K. Dobbins got 8.1 points in a low-scoring game against the Cardinals. And Brandon Ayuk, we know what happened to him as he left the game. I think it was the first half, but with a catastrophic knee injury, he only got 3.3 points. So I finished off the Wingman Jam with 11.4 points. And Bernie's pick of DK Metcalf, who I let him have, if you remember, and Evan Ingram, DK Metcalf had 17.9 points. He beat Mike's team all by himself, and Evan Ingram added 6 points. So we had a total of 23.9 to 11.4. Bernie won the face-off in the second Wingman Jam of this season, and now we are at 1-1 for the season. We've got 2 more coming every 3 weeks. We're going to do this here. So congratulations to you, Bernie. And as always, the person who loses is going to have to embarrass themselves. So I'm going to put you on full screen while I get myself situated here. And you can talk about that matchup right there for a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, I'm happy that DK got what he needed to before he got a little banged up there. But I had my man Geno Smith in, and Geno just keeps throwing the ball, leading the NFL in certain categories that I don't have pulled up in front of me. But one of them is yards, I believe, passing yards. So you know that DK is going to get it. And oh my goodness. What in the world?
This is what happens when you raid your son's closet looking for random masks to wear.
Wow. I feel like an old man because I don't have any reference to who that is.
I had to ask him. It's from Naruto. I think the character's name's Obito. I wouldn't have known that without asking. And this is my wife's cowboy hat. So a combination here. A little combination here. Very hard to see. I don't have my glasses and I'm looking through mesh. All right. But now it's time to set up this week's prop bets. If you don't mind, I'm going to read my first 2 off so you can just go ahead after that.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start with the NFL pick. I'm going to go into the Philadelphia-Cincinnati game where Cincinnati is favored by 2.5 points at home over Philadelphia. I'm taking the road dogs to cover. I don't know if they'll win this one, but it'll be closer than that. I got Philadelphia covering the game against Cincinnati. And my fantasy matchup this week is the Fantastics versus Lions. Both these teams are at 1-6, but their projected points are both at 93 and change. So this one's going to be close. I went back and forth and actually looked at the players and their matchups. And you already heard it here. Bernie has the Dolphins going off this week. So, of course, we are going to pick the Fantastics. You know what? I didn't let you pick who you were going to pick. I have Philadelphia covering in that first game. You're going to take Philly or Cincinnati?
I'm going to have the same 2 picks as you on this one, Mike. I'm going to take Philadelphia to cover those points, and obviously I can't go against my starts of the week, so I'm going to take Fantastics.
Okay, all right. What are your pick'ems this week?
All right, so for the NFL, I've got the Jets at New England, and the Jets are -7 in this game, so I'm going to take New England to cover that 7 points.
Tell me one more time. I'm sorry. New England and who?
The Jets at New England, and the Jets are -7. So I'm going to take New England to cover those 7 points.
You know what? I agree with you because I don't like going with high favorite road teams like that. But I think it's potentially Aaron Rodgers. Let's put it this way: Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are either going to blow up this week or their season's going to blow up. So I shouldn't put faith in that team. That's crazy. I'm gonna go with the Jets though, just to be different. I'll take the Jets. Wow, that's a bad pick. I take the Jets though. I'm gonna stick by it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and then for my second pick, I'm going on the opposite end of the spectrum here. They took our jobs projected at 100.16, and Mac Daddy 2's projected at 100.53. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to take Mac Daddy 2's on this one just because he's got Caleb Williams in, and Caleb just seems to be getting better and better and better. And I'm really worried about Metcalf and Reed on they took our job side.
So I hate to pull this on you here, but I believe they have players going tonight already, and so I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. Yeah. Don't, I completely agree. Okay. Let's do this then. Let's do.
I'm sorry to switch it on.
No. I should have thought of that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let me go back to the league here. So what are you doing for Halloween? Are you not going to wear this mask outside? Are you?
I'm not dressing up at all. Most likely.
Are you going to be handing out candy over here?
It depends. Probably because I usually get home after the kids go out because I got to work a little later. So I usually come home and start manning the door while they're already out trick or treating.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we had the big pickup of Juwan Jennings. He's projected at 8.77 points on Crazy Fish's roster here. Do you think it'll be over or under 8.77 points? I am going to go under.
I like Jennings. I don't think he's going to play this week. So
he's projected at 8.77. I mean, that sounds like he's going to play.
Yeah, so was Jonathan Taylor all the last 3 weeks. I don't know.
Okay, if he plays. If not, we'll do a okay, if he plays, he goes over. Gotcha. Okay. If he plays and he gets hurt, or if he plays and he doesn't finish the game,
if he's
that's
active,
different.
we can only pick if he's active or not.
Right. All right. So Jennings 8.77. You have going over. I have going under.
So we'll do this. If he's active, we'll take our picks. If he's not active, it's a push.
Okay, that works. Is
that all right?
Yeah, that's all right with me.
All right. So in this case, we have the same picks with Fantastics and the Philadelphia game. We're different pending an active start for Juwan Jennings, and we're different on the Jets-Patriots game, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, you. What did you say? You said you had the Jets covering, or your Jets hitting that 7 mark. Okay, yeah, that's correct. Then I've got New England that's not going to let them beat them by that much.
All right, we got a 1.5 differential. We'll see how this one plays out. Good luck to you. We're starting fresh, so we have a chance to make some mistakes and still catch up. All right, guys, now it is time to get into our mailbag.
You've got mail. You've got mail. Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag! Oh, I can breathe. Okay, all right. I was getting a little musky in there. I'm sorry. All right, guys, it is time for our mailbag, and we've got one coming in from Anonymous. And this one says, hey, Wingman, how do you guys determine who's a stud and who's a mecha stud? All right, well, I got an answer for you. Thanks for writing in, Anonymous. I know we've had our disagreements in the past, but I appreciate you coming on here today. All right, so the answer is, if you're a kicker or defense, you need 15 points to be a stud, but if you get 20 points or more, you are a mecha stud. In terms of running backs or wide receivers / tight ends, 17 points or more will get you on the stud list, but 24 points or more will make you a mecha stud. And in terms of the quarterback position, it'll take 24 points to get you on the stud list, but if you break that juicy 30 points, you are a mecha stud. I think what do you think about those numbers there? We don't want to have too many. The stud list is already pretty long as it is, so we don't want to have a list of 50 players here, so we got to make it really a high bar to get these spots.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think that works.
All right, our next question comes in from Mike F. This guy, he just sounds smart just by his name alone. All right, this one says, hey, Wingman, I love the show, and my favorite player there is Amazing Spidey. I root for him every week. I have a big start-sit question, though. I got to start 3 of these 4 players. Can you help me out? We're going to address this one to you, Bernie, as Mike F needs all the help he can get. Again, he's starting 3 of these 4. These are all running backs. Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Mason, or Javonte Williams. Which of these 3 are you going to start?
Okay, Robinson, Mason, Williams, and who was the other one?
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, good gosh. And you got to start how many?
3. Or I could start up to 3. Not I. Mike F. Mike F. can start with 3. I don't. Yeah.
Oh, good gosh. Well, Mike, I hope you got better receivers. You really don't need to start any of these guys. But we'll take a look here. So Robinson, actually, he had a pretty good game. So I'm going to go with Robinson off the bat here and see what we got going on. So Robinson, who's he going up against? He's going up against Tampa Bay. He had a good week last week. So that's
he
good.
had 9.5 points against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is much better against the run than the pass, but they're going to be shell shocked this week with all their injuries. So I'm not sure this game's going to go.
Yeah. But he did show life as a good running back. So Mason is going up against Dallas, but he's a little questionable for me. So definitely we're going to start Jacobs. We're going to start Robinson. Javonte had a game, man. He had a game last time.
It's tough. We got Williams playing against Carolina.
Yeah.
And Jordan Mason against Dallas. And with the injuries to the receivers, and with the bye next week, and maybe Christian McCaffrey coming back after that, I can see them riding Jordan Mason for his last start of the year, saying, "Go for it, man! Just keep pounding," while we get some other guys getting back from injury. But Javonte Williams has that Carolina matchup. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, Mason might be my odd man out. He is the Sunday night game, and he does have a questionable tag. So he may not play due to an ankle. Like, your running back shouldn't have any ankle issues. So Mason is my odd man out here, in my opinion. Robinson, Williams, and Jacobs would get my start if I had to pick three.
This is gonna be tight. I'm not sure. I want to play Williams, but he's the fourth best running back in terms of just talent kind of thing right now with these guys. It's going to come down to Mason. Last week I was thinking about Mason or Williams, and I should have put Williams in, but that Thursday game was the tiebreaker that I waited longer. That Sunday night game, though, I want a piece of that Dallas-San Francisco game. That has a chance to be a fun game.
It does, but man, I mean, who's the other guy over there? Trey Tucker, is he over there?
For who?
San Fran. Is that? Am I thinking about that correctly? Trey Tucker?
Isaac Arendo for running backs?
Isaac Arendo. Yes.
Yeah, he's not very good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mason was hurt last week. He didn't get a lot of carries because I think they were saving for the second half. He got a lot of carries in the second half, but he was on the field the entire time, including the 2-minute offense. Yeah. And the third down, I watched. He was in on every third down. Arendo just came in for a couple spells. They didn't get the ball. It was all Mason. They just didn't give him the ball a lot because I said that they were saving his shoulder. Hopefully he's more healthy, and like I said, I think they're going to ride him because he's not expected to come back and play after this week.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But again, if he's the late game and he's got the only one with a questionable tag, he's the one that I'm leaving off.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, another start. So this one comes in from Amazing Spidey, who's got a triumvirate of quarterbacks here, all kind of medium good quarterbacks. We have who are we going to start this week? Patrick Mahomes against the Raiders, Tua Tagovailoa against the Cardinals, or Kyler Murray against the Dolphins.
Well, my start of the week is Tua. I clearly didn't know he was going up against these guys, but if Tua gets the clear, he is my start of the week. I don't think Kyler could rush in the end zone against Miami's defense. He's got He's got 2 rushing touchdowns so far this year.
Yeah, they're both 45 yards or longer.
He's got 3 rushing touchdowns. No, 2 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I think I would go with Tua on that. Miami's Tua is my guy.
I've been starting Kyler over Mahomes, and it is worked 2 out of 3. Mahomes just gets 16 points every game, no matter what it seems. Mm-hmm. Murray's kind of a little more volatile. He had 9 points one game, but he's getting 21 to 26 points in the other one, so he's got a little more boom bust. But this week, I've got Murray as my 3rd ranked one. I'm going back and forth between Tua, because I'm afraid of the first game back, but I like the matchup, or Mahomes against the Raiders, who he generally does pretty well against, and I believe that game is indoors. So the fact that I'm not sure if Tua is going to handle. I don't like Murray outside. I don't like Tua outside. But I like the matchup for Tua.
You got to worry. You got to worry about Crosby. Crosby could wreck Mahomes' game as far as his passing game. So that's also a factor that Arizona just doesn't have against Tua. So.
Right. So you can see I've got some tough choices this week, man.
You do. You know what? Let's rewind. Let's do a little quick rewind. Let's do Mahomes or Tua. Who has the most fantasy points for my Wingman Jam fantasy pick? Because Tua is projected at what here? 17.3, and Mahomes is projected at 17.9.
That's what I'm saying. They're all projected for 18 points, essentially, all three.
So let's do that. Let's make you pick right now on the spot.
Oh, instead of the Juwan Jennings?
Instead of the Jennings.
So who is it again? Mahomes or
Tua?
Oh, man. So essentially, all right. So essentially, the one
essentially Amazing Spidey will be picking his starter right now. Oh. No, I'm
that's good. No, I like it. Let's do it. Okay, I like it.
Okay. So
the other one has too many question marks on it, so I'm going to change it anyway.
All right, I'll take Tua.
I'm going to be going back and forth. I think right now, as a coward play, I'm leaning Mahomes, but I don't know that I want to. I think I'm going to pick Mahomes in that battle, but it's just because he hasn't scored over 20 points once this season yet. He's got to have at least one of these. Right. And with DeAndre Hopkins coming there, I don't think Hopkins is going to be a big-time player this week, but I think they're going to try to work the passing game a little more this week, get him a couple extra targets. And Hunt's a little banged up. They can't ride this old guy that long into the ground here.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to lean Mahomes, obviously I might go back and forth myself up until Sunday.
Yeah, and then you don't know what Tua is going to be coming off of this long absence. So
you're picking Tua, I take it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. For sure.
All right. So we have two different picks now in our Wingman Jam. All right, guys. I want to thank you all so very much for joining us once again for Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. Go ahead if you want to find any of our podcasts. Just you can check us out on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music. Just search Wingman the League on those platforms, and we'll come right to the top of your search. You can also find all of our content, audio or video feeds on wingmanentertainment.net/podcast. And of course, go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. And please go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Get yourselves into our next mailbag and let me know who you think I should start between those running backs and quarterbacks. I need all the help I can get. You guys can help sabotage me right there. We're putting the sabotage power into the hands of our viewers out there. So once again, thank you all so very much. May your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
And remember, fantasy football as in life, sometimes your best moves are the ones you didn't plan for.
All right. We'll see you next week, guys.